All right, back with some more exam revision. We're going to work our way through the SCSA sample paper. This video is going to focus on oral, and it's going to be a little bit of how I do oral stuff. So if you're really good at oral, this one might not be for you, but we're going to go through some of my technique for oral. Let's have a look at this question. Do a process, like I say always. It is 3:09. Underline stuff. Listen to track 1. A lot of people might listen to the wrong track. Name the 3 intervals, so you don't have to write it out here. Got to name them down there. And it's worth 3 marks, so I've got about 3 minutes to do it. Can I narrow down the options at all? Well, I could work out that it's in E major, and that's the 5th, and that's the tonic. I think that's going to be helpful when I listen to it to know that. So that could narrow it down a little bit. Also, I'm expecting that this melody is going to go up from here and then something to get to there. I mean, it would be a bit nasty if this melody goes down from there. So I could narrow it down a little bit. All right, and then this is this. Very classic tune. Pity the question isn't name this tune. Now, there are lots of ways to do oral. Some people say memorize the little song, so like Amazing Grace, if it's a 4th, that kind of stuff. Some people say do solfa, like do, re, mi. Some people do names, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like scale degree names. Some people like to hear the function of the note. For example, if we're here in E major, E sounds like it's home. B, the 5th, sounds like it wants to go back home. The 7th wants to always resolve. The 4th wants to always resolve down to the 3rd. So you can hear the function of the note. My suggestion is that you use a whole range of those things to get the job done. So you could use any of those, and I'll use all of those to try and get some of these things done. The other thing you want to do is also be able to hear arpeggios, which is really useful, and we'll get into that. So with this one, what melody have we got? So I reckon this first interval, I can hear that a few ways, I reckon. I can hear it as Amazing Grace. It's also the start of, the whole thing is Star Wars, isn't it? It's the same notes. So this one also sounds like 5-1. Sounds like it wants to go home. 5-1. So we can kind of hear that. And then the next note, no. Now I can sort of hear what that note is, but I'm not 100% sure because it's a big gap. So I might just sing up the scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you're good, you might just hear that as a so. Or maybe you can do that as an interval. What would that be? Twinkle, twinkle. So there's a few ways to do that. So we got 5, 1, 5. And I reckon that when I was listening to that, I reckon I could hear this. I could hear, he says, why can't I draw? There we go. I reckon I could hear big interval, scale. And so I can kind of hear that that's just coming back down the scale. So I don't really need to work out all those intervals. I can just hear that's going down the scale. Now you might want to do each individual interval, but that would take a long time. So I reckon now I've got enough information to give it a go. So we could go 5, 1, 5, down the scale on the rest there. So then I've got to work that out. So I'm in E major, so 1 is going to be here, 5 is going to be B, 4, 3, got a key signature over here, so that's helpful. Would I put the stems on? Maybe. Okay, and now I haven't actually done the question. So the question is, what are the intervals, not can you write it all down? So the first thing you do with intervals, shall we do a different color? Is count the number. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is some sort of 4th. Where should we do that? Up here? 4th. we could have perfect, major, minor, augmented, or diminished. And so there's lots of ways to do intervals, but if it's from the major scale, it's either major or perfect. So you can only get a perfect fourth, not a major fourth. And this is from the major scale. If you're going to do that major scale system, then it has to be, confusingly, then it's from B major. So is E the fourth of B major? Yes, it is. So therefore, it's a perfect fourth. Don't feel like that was the best explanation of intervals, but I have got other videos on intervals. Okay, count first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one's going to be a fifth. It can be minor, major, perfect, augmented, or diminished. Except, of course, fifths can't be major, can they? They're always perfect. So it's got to be minor, perfect, augmented, or diminished. If it comes from the major scale, it's major or perfect. So here, that's an E, and we'd be expecting a B in the major scale, and we do get that, so that makes it a perfect fifth. Again, not great by me, but that's okay. And then finally over here, the last one, this one here, a little trick question. You know, teachers like a good trick question. And so this one is actually, of course, this is because of the key signature G sharp. And that's going to get a lot of people. So we count, we go 1, 2. So it's some sort of second. If it comes from the major scale, it's major. So these two notes are A and, well, there's G sharp, I guess, on the bottom, and A. So does A come from G sharp major? No, it doesn't. G sharp major should have an A sharp in it, so it doesn't, therefore it's a minor second. Or this one might have been easier to do a different way, in which case these two notes are a semitone apart, which means it's a minor second. Right, I think we're done. Just one little thing I'd say there, if I get rid of all that, is if you want to just not get stuff right, just go like this. Because then the examiners, the markers, don't know if that's minor second or major second. Make sure you write out minor or major. It's worth that extra couple of seconds to get that right. Okay, now that's all we're going to do for this video, because that's been long enough, giving you a bit of an idea of how I do the oral stuff. I try and use the range of all of the different things, a bit of solfa, a bit of scale degree names, a bit of those little songs, and I would also try and like map out the melody as a bit of an arpeggio, a bit of a scale here, that kind of stuff. Okay, I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you in the next one.